The secretary is not here today. Charlotte, can you establish quorum for us, please?
We do have a quorum.
Okay, great. So up next, we have the treasurer's report. Is Bill online?
Yes, he is.
Okay, great.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
Very well.
We can do them.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. Oh, wait, Bill, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I skipped over the pledge and the invocation. So can we please stand up?
Are you gonna say something? Prayer or something?
Oh, I was going to say it.
Okay, yes, miss.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity and for the responsibility entrusted to each of us. We ask for wisdom as we make decisions, patience as we listen to one another, and humility as we work together. Help us to focus on what is right, to act with integrity, and to always keep the best interests of our community at the center of our work. God, please guide our discussions tonight so that they are respectful, productive, and aligned with your purpose. Grant us clarity in moments of uncertainty and unity where there may be differences. We ask for your blessings over this board, this community, and all those that we serve. Amen. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now it's your turn, Bill.
All right. So in the month of May, Lake Forest as a whole was over budget by $3,720. However, we're still under year to date by $86,512. Administration was under budget by $9,108. We are better to budget year to date by $38,341. Generally, we're a little bit higher in admin over budget. There were a couple of things. One, looking at our legal expenses. Legal was over budget for the month by $5,427. However, we're only over year to date by $1,836. So legal is pretty close to budget year to date, but we were higher this month, and that kind of put administration over. The golf shop was over budget by $11,034 for the month, and over year to date, $400. We didn't make our budgeted sales this month by $11,405. So expenses pretty much stayed in line, but the sales that we projected weren't there. And I know you guys have been having a lot of rain and other things attributing to that. Golf maintenance was under budget for the month by $6,669, and year to date we're under budget by $32,114. There's always some timing differences in golf maintenance. Not all of that may be savings. It depends on, when we put the fertilizer out and so forth. Last year, we pretty much finished right around budget or under budget. So I expect it to be similar this year. Facilities was over budget by $5,682 and over year to date by $7,784. Marina is over budget for the month by $1,904 and over year to date by $6,859. The total fees collected last year for what we budgeted and what we're collecting, we had over budgeted our fees, and there were a couple of maintenance items this month. We're going to go ahead and talk about tennis. I know the board wanted to know what we're spending. I mean, looking, we had budgeted, a lot more than what we are spending. So we're under budget by $2,210. But for this particular month, there were very few expenses, and it's some normal things like the phone for the alarm systems and things like that. There was no additional money spent this month. The pools were over budget by 2,161. However, year to date, we are under budget by 5,596. The yacht club was under budget by 2,011 for the month, and we're under year to date by 18,525. The 19th hole was over budget for the month by 2,737, and we're over year to date 3,617. And I think last month, Jeff kind of explained, if we're down in golf, we're going to be down in sales in the 19th hole. They just feed off of each other. So that was pretty much to be expected. And that's pretty much the highlights for May. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Does anyone have any questions for Bill? Nope. Okay. We'll move into member comments. Victoria Phelps is signed up. Is anyone else wanting to speak tonight? Nope. Okay, Victoria.
Thank you. Evening, acting chair.
Yeah.
Ms. Sable. BJ Phelps, 20-year plus resident and military veteran. Wanted to wish a happy 4th and the country a happy 250th. We won't meet again before those activities have happened. Just FYI, City of Daphne has a planned event at the Civic Center tomorrow from 4 to 8. And it'll be live music and food trucks and things like that in celebratory of the 250th. I had an incident happen over at my place yesterday with the storm. I just wanted to share that with you. Had a lightning strike. It hit the power pole at the top of the street, blew off the top 5 feet of the pole. And within 2 hours, Riviera responded and had me up and running again, which was really good. And they'll be back to replace that pole tomorrow morning. So it's pretty good. It was scary first, lost some electronics at home, but it was good. Good outcome overall and quick response from our utility provider. There'll be an event on July 2nd with a 25% discount for Lake Forest residents at the Waterfront Restaurant. So if anyone's interested in going to that, use LF2026, I think, when you go to purchase tickets. So I just want to also say that entrances are looking a little bit better since our last meeting. I know the GM probably has some more improvements in mind and look forward to seeing those come in. Behind number 10 Green, where we've removed trees and we've got all that scruffy nature back there. Just was curious of the timeline, when we might see some improvements there, as well as the walking trail that goes from Lawson Road, the passive walking trail from there to Ridgewood. That needs to be cut and the access points need to be cleaned. And then lastly, the 4-way stop that's been recently installed at Windsor and Ridgewood. I just wanted to thank the board, the newly seated board saw fit to seek a resolution with the city requesting the installation of the stops. And I've been kind of keeping tabs on social. For the most part, it's been pretty positive and people are supportive of the safety improvements. And another couple 5 seconds to keep everybody safe moving around that area is a very small thing to ask for. And so I just wanted to, took a lot of people to get that done, including the board and as well as the city and the residents that stepped forward and asked for that. So just wanted to say thank you that finally got done. So other than that, have a good evening.
Thank you. Victoria, what time is that event at the Civic Center tomorrow?
It's from 4 to 8. I think there's food trucks and events for kids earlier on, but I think the music is supposed to start somewhere around 6 with patriotic themed music in the Civic Center. So it's open and free to everybody. So if y'all would like to come or anybody here, that would be probably a good thing. Cool. Thank you.
Okay, if there are no further member comments, we'll move to approving the May stated meeting minutes.
I move they be approved as written.
I would ask for an amendment with the stated meeting minutes to show that I was in attendance.
Oh. might be good.
Don't worry, he missed me last night. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I had said to him, you know, this must not have been the version.
Okay, so, do we go back to the secretary to get the amendment prior to signing them? Okay,
Yeah.
so
I'll send it back.
approval of the minutes will be tabled for now.
I'd ask the same thing on the special meeting minutes.
Are you not on there either?
Nope. I think it was a cut and paste. So
Oh.
I sent Gil a note the other day. He said, "Oh yeah, I'll get that," but I guess he got distracted.
Okay.
I
So,
move that the special meeting minutes be approved.
I'm sorry.
Special meeting minutes have to be amended also.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
I-
that's-
I
Yeah.
got you.
okay.
Oh, yeah, you're doing the phone
Yeah.
secretary. Thank you. Okay, so moving on to, May financial review and approval. I, had a few questions about May's financials, that I wanted to check in with Jeff on. I don't know if anyone else has questions, if they wanted to go first. Okay,
I
so,
don't have- Do we all have a
He
copy?
sent it.
it was in the email he sent,
No,
but it was at
but-
like 3 o'clock, so.
I don't think I printed out a copy. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Sorry, I printed my copy at home. You can tell by how dirty, how dirty it is. So I went through the financials, just kind of a quick review, and wanted to note some variances whenever they were $5,000 or greater. Just to get some additional explanation behind that. So our administration expenses, the variance between what was budgeted and what actually happened in May is our expenses were $9,500 greater than what was budgeted for. So I wanted to check in with Jeff on that and see if you could explain why we have that overage for month versus budgeted.
Like Bill said, there was we're a little over $6,000 over with legal fees. With our legal representation also being our primary source of collection activity, doing a better job of breaking that out instead of just taking the invoice. So we're going to start breaking that out to show actually what went towards legal fees for the association and then towards collection fees. So we're going to start breaking that out to give a little bit of a better idea. So that was primarily what the issue was. Some other things, there were some software updates that we had to do with the computers that added a couple of thousands of dollars to make sure the app was up and running, getting some additional upgrades to the software for Jonas as well.
Okay, great. Another item I noticed under expenses, our facilities maintenance is over $5,600 above what was budgeted.
A lot of tree repairs, a lot of taking down trees, I should say, that were not on the golf course. If it's on the golf course, we take that out of golf course maintenance. If it's on a preservation lot, if it's a clubhouse, things like that. So taking those away. Also, we finally got the parking lot lights, LEDs in the parking lot lights. So those of you leaving later, it'll be more appreciated come the winter and the fall and the winter. But for now, you'll be able to see a lot better in the parking lots. It's going to make them twice as bright, and we'll have to change them a little bit less frequently. So that was one of the main reasons we were over for the maintenance, facility maintenance.
Okay, great.
Oh, also the entrances, the roses at the entrances, and making sure all that looked up to par, pine straw. So a lot of improvements going around the neighborhood, where we weren't really spending at the beginning of the year, because you really can't do that many landscaping things in January, February, and March. Doing those in these warmer months.
Okay, great. That was all the questions I had.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions?
No.
Do we approve these or just move on? Which one? Are we making a motion on these or we just review them and move on?
They're just for review.
Just for review,
Yeah,
okay.
That's just included.
All right. Moving on. Up next, the Lake and Environmental Committee report.
Yeah, we're playing a little ping pong with the Army Corps of Engineers letter. We sent it to the district office. It came back. We sent it to the St. Joseph Street office. And Matt says that's no longer the right address either. So we'll wait and see if the one Jeff mailed today bounces back again, but we'll get there eventually.
What happens is the district commander of the district changes every 2 years, or every 3 years, depending on the circumstances. And we mailed it to, or Patrick mailed it to the district commander's name in the PO box. And I'm afraid those didn't match up. You know, the commander changed, didn't match the PO box. And because they've had the same PO box ever since I worked down there, which was up and years ago, but we'll get it straightened out.
Yeah, so if it comes back again, Matt's just gonna hand carry it. and
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll have
Put the personal
resolved it
touch on
in
it.
in that way. We heard from Gina Todia in her pursuit here of the plant I can't name that she is looking for, and she's had a few distractions, like her own requirement to earn a living got in the way, but she expects to be out in the next couple of weeks in the preservation lots. She did point out, and Matt, I didn't have a chance to fill you in on this, is that there's another element of unwanted vegetation in the lake, and it's called West Indian marsh grass
Yeah.
that one of her colleagues, Gina's colleagues, made her aware of. Something we've been talking about since the Lake Committee was part of infrastructure was trying to figure out why we cannot raise and lower the guillotine on the sluice gate. And this goes back to Matt's time running the infrastructure committee when the lake was part of that. A guy came by with an idea that he suggested to Jeff about just using one of those little cameras that you snake down a pipe, like if you were investigating a break in your sewer line or something. And we thought that was just a wonderful idea. So the guy got back to Jeff and said his boss wouldn't let him do it. So Jeff is investigating the possibility of our doing that with a 1-day rental. You can get like a unit with 200 feet for somewhere around $350, and we might at that point find other uses for it. Yeah, so that's kind of where we are at this point.
Is that everything from Lake and Environmental?
That'll do.
Okay. Up next, we have the Infrastructure Committee report. So the Infrastructure Committee last met on June 8th. And the focus is still on the piers at the Waterfront Restaurant. The purpose of the meeting was to review and refine the draft agreement that we will share with the contractor. The committee worked on it first, and then we have sent it to our attorney to formalize into an agreement. The committee suggested that we divide the project into 2 phases. One phase is a cleanup phase, which will be pulling up all of the piles and the submerged debris within the field of where the piers are. That work can begin immediately after executing the agreement. At the same time, the board voted to amend the engineering agreement to get a revised set of renderings. so that we can build a more structurally sound pier than what was in the original renderings. Those renderings should be delivered to the board by next week, according to the engineer. So the cleanup phase can begin fairly immediately after execution of the agreement. The construction phase will not be able to begin until all permits have been received.
I have a question about you have in your minutes here that the committee voted on the decking, but the committee vote doesn't prevail. So I would suggest that the board vote on that decking.
Okay.
And the question is, do we go with flow through decking or 2x6s? There was I don't know what the vote was 5-4. It was a pretty close vote. The argument for the flow through is basically it's designed such that it causes less uplift when hurricane events and high water events occur and water goes above the pier level. And 2x6 decking is I believe it's about $30,000 less. Yeah. And so, I don't know whether you want to vote tonight or wait. He can include that in his specs if we voted tonight.
Okay.
I'll leave that up to you're the chairman.
I think we need a vote on the pile wraps, and what was the other thing?
Well,
Caps.
caps.
So
yeah,
maybe we do vote on all of them
that's good.
together.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we could probably do that an email vote.
I was gonna say, I don't have the information to be able to say yes or no either way.
Okay.
Like, I don't have what I need to be able to vote. So maybe if it is.
I'll
via email,
generate, I'll generate an email to get that discussion going.
Tom, I did have a question. I don't mean to jump backwards on the lake thing. This
Uh-huh.
bottom section of your minutes about the petition,
Yeah, I just didn't
I-
want to point out what was going on there, but yeah,
I'm on the fence about pointing it out as well, but
Yeah.
I think maybe we do. I'm sorry.
okay, yeah. We, for those of you who've been around a while, we had a petition that the board of about 4 years ago directed be created. And that was a petition expressing support for the lake renovation. And this is a large scale renovation that would turn our lake into a really high quality recreational attraction for the 1.6 million people who live within an hour's drive of here. It would include a championship bass fishing lake, a lot of environmental education facilities for children, a lot of viewing platforms that would be constructed in cooperation with the city of Daphne on the back of the parking lot there for the shopping center. And basically a lake cleanup that would restore us to somewhere around 74 acres. Matt did all of this work in the proposal, and it's great science. He at that time said that the study in 2016 showed the lake having diminished to 43 acres. So because of the sedimentation and everything, we had a recent, I don't want to say study because that maybe suggests it was more scientific than I know it was, but an aerial survey and using drones and Google Maps. They now think the lake's down to 32 acres from 43. So it's getting ugly. Okay. So that's the quick background on this petition. And the idea with the petition was to get a show of support so that as we moved along with this plan and presented it to city officials, county officials, state, federal, began seeking grants, that we would be able to say, hey, look, here is this group of signatures that are people who are in support of this. Well, a former member of the board started that petition on change.org. And if you start the petition, some of you may know this, you own the petition. So this board member, when he left the board, locked the petition. So what I was saying there was that I've been exploring in my report here that we were kind of going, should we bring all this up? You know, I don't know why I locked it, but it's locked.
Well, I mean, I think
So-
the major reason why I really want to point out is not necessarily the why, but that it has to start over, is that
Yeah.
we have to start fresh, and that's just,
Right.
that's part of the problem.
Yeah, it is. There is no way, aside from taking a screenshot and saying, look, we had 1,344 signatures. And I know, Mr. Mayor, that you'll trust us to believe that they're there, but we can only show you a screenshot. Not so good.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to start over.
Can I suggest that if we do create a new one, that it's under the GM email?
You bet.
Okay.
Yeah. Good idea.
Good thought.
Yeah. Jeff, you're not gonna throw a snit or anything, are you? I mean, that's all right. Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, so that's where we are with that. It's kind of unfortunate, but you know, that's life sometimes,
Back
right?
to the agenda.
All right, up next, we have the GM report.
Okay. First off, is as Bill sort of mentioned, for May, we've had a very, very rough 8 weeks with rain. So that's really hampered revenue for golf and for the 19th hole. So far, just for the month of June, we're down about 24% year over year, which is, excuse me, just for the month of June, comparing June to June. Year to year, we're only down about $234. In this industry, anytime that you're susceptible to the elements in the environment, you're going to sort of have peaks and valleys. It's feast or famine. So we had a very, very dry, sort of moderately temperatured January, February, and March. So we did great and built up a great buffer. Now that May and June have been washouts, we're sort of working through that to try to just ride through, minimize spending as much as we can, close, not have the staff here to help sort of offset the loss of revenue. But we've got a lot of positive things coming up. We've got the 4th of July tournament. We've got an 80-person tournament on Monday. And we've got beautiful weather for this weekend. So this will actually probably be the first weekend we've not been closed a day in the past 8 weeks. So we can hopefully make up some of that ground. Maintenance for this month has really been trying to play catch up and just when we can do things, trying to get them done. The biggest project we completed was aerating the greens on the golf course. That's where you take little plugs out of the turf, fill them with sand. It relieves compression. It allows air and more oxygen to get into the soil. It just basically, it helps you the longevity of the turf and the grass. It's better for it. Usually there's like a 2-week period where the greens are incredibly hard to play on. Fortunately for us, we coordinated that during the floods. So no one was playing golf anyway. So we didn't miss any sales because of aerating. The guys have been doing a lot of great work out there. We really couldn't do any mowing last week. Even up to Friday, we were still standing in water in some areas. So this week has been playing catch up. Next week, we're looking at getting the back of number 10. We've sprayed, done everything we're going to do there. The pine straw is in. We're going to clear out all the brush back there, start getting some pine straw bedding in, put some turf down to make the area look a little bit better back there. And then start getting some of those projects like cleaning the fences for the walkways and the walking trails. So doing some of those things. So the guys are working hard, you know, getting out there and mowing as much as they can during this time. Excuse me. Same thing for the 19th hole. We're sort of experiencing a downtime because if the golfers aren't coming in during the daytime, there really are no customers. So we're minimizing labor when we can, sending folks home. If we saw yesterday, we closed out at 4 o'clock because we saw rain was coming in. There was no sense in being open, so we shut down. So we're trying to make smart moves from a cost perspective. We're getting ready for some of the big things that are coming up, the 4th of July tournament. And then next Wednesday, July 1st, we're doing the $4 burger and pulled pork special. So y'all make sure y'all come in and buy a bag.
That's a big bargain. That's a big bargain.
It's a very good bargain. Very good bargain. So for $4, you can get a pulled pork sandwich or a one of our cheeseburgers with a soda and a fry. So you can't beat that. Best deal in town.
Yep. Okay, next item on the agenda is an update on the climate survey. So we have sent out a climate survey using email addresses that we have on file. So you would get an invitation from the GM at Lake Forest email. The survey will close on Friday. So far, we've had 250 responses to the survey. So if you haven't had the opportunity to fill it out, we gave the option for 2 adults. If 2 adults reside in the house, so that we can collect everyone's opinion, not just one person's opinion. So please, if you haven't already, take the time to fill it out and encourage your neighbors to do so. I think we'll have some really interesting information to share. We do plan to share the results in whole of the survey, so that you can dig through and find whatever information it is that particularly interests you. The board hopes to use this as a guide in some of the future decisions that we have to make as well. So when you share your voice in the survey, it's speaking directly to the board and helping us to make decisions. All right, questions or comments on that from the board? No? Okay, additional agenda item for the board, I've asked Jeff to print out this land lease agreement for cell towers. For the members, we are in negotiations with cell tower company. They'll create an additional revenue stream for the association, and it is to no cost to us. Matt was saying earlier that, what were you talking about, site location and?
The agreement just specifies the size of an area that the cell towers utilize, and it doesn't specify any particular areas. And we will, if we enter into this contract, have beforehand, have these sites identified and have a membership input on that.
So we hired a consultant to help advise us on this lease agreement. That is the specialty that they focus on, since none of us are experts in that area. The one thing that we've been revised, I think this is our 3rd revision, is the question of charging for the first subtenant or not. We wanted to charge for the first subtenant. They pushed back and said it's not common to charge on the first subtenant because they need to make their money back that they spent on building the tower in the first place. So that's been the change to this agreement that Patrick has sent over. I don't know if the board would like to consider voting on moving this version forward, or if we need to have further discussion outside of the meeting.
I've reviewed this document so many times when I was a blur when I read it, but to make sure that the company, the tower company, hasn't slipped in a change from the previous agreement. And so far they haven't. And foregoing that first tenant revenue, I don't think that in the long run that doesn't make any difference. That's my personal opinion.
Okay.
Has the consultant reviewed this version?
Yes, this is the consultant. So the cell tower, and Jeff can probably speak to this even more than me, but tell me if I'm wrong, Jeff. The cell tower company pushed back and said, we don't want to pay for our first subtenant. Patrick reached out to Mr. Silverheel, who's the consultant, and the consultant said this is a common thing. I would go ahead and change just that first paragraph. This is that paragraph change is included. It's one of our first sections here on the agreement.
And Matt is saying that he wants to be more specific of exactly where. That portion's not included in this contract.
No, it's
That's
just
a later
specified an
stage.
area. And
Okay, that's a later stage.
also the contract doesn't tie us down to that tower provider. If we find other areas that this initial provider
Okay,
doesn't use and we can get a member approval of that, then we can enter into a contract with another tower company too and have that revenue stream. So that was a key issue on the first draft of the contract.
So are you saying you would approve this tonight and then designate the area later, or are you saying you
Right,
want the
that's-
area
Well,
designated in the
I would
contract?
say we'll approve the wording because I'm not sure whether this constitutes a contract per se.
Okay.
And, because in discussions back and forth with Patrick, he said the tower company was just providing us some wording to get started. So I would say we would approve the wording. We won't designate it as a contract yet.
Mhm.
Okay.
And
So are you making a motion to approve?
I'll
the
make a
wording?
motion that we approve the wording in this contract that
Mhm.
was in our board packet.
Second,
Okay, all in favor?
aye.
Aye. Okay. Awesome. Okay, that concludes old business. We're moving into new business. Our first item of new business is to ratify a board composition vote that we did over email. This was the agreement to approve the amendment with the shoreline engineer for the revised renderings that include upgraded structural enhancements. And so, do we motion on this?
I have some things that we talked about with that the engineer
Okay,
mentioned that weren't in that little list. The cross bracing, and
okay, you
that he
gave
was
the
gonna
type.
give us some spec for the power
Okay.
wraps. And since high density polyethylene power wraps come in various thicknesses, he would specify that, what thickness and how to install it during the construction. And then one other thing down there.
Here's your
I just-
pile wraps, cross bracing. And this is the decking, which we talked
Yeah, I
about.
mentioned, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So
Now,
this
wasn't
is to be
there-
shared with the contractor, is what you're saying for his revised bid.
Wasn't there something Mike was charged with doing? Was that?
That has to do with the contract. He was gonna draft something having to do with partial payments being made on a work in place business, but I gave Mike the contract that we signed on Golf Terrace. And the way the contract is sort of a generic contract, and we could Patrick has that in his computer, and we could make that contract for these piers. We could make that contract with just a few changes. We can make that contract applicable to
Okay,
this thing, but that's something we have to discuss.
I'm a little.
But that's the idea.
confused.
When Mike got into drafting the how partial payments would be made, that's when I furnished him and Patrick the contract we used on that.
okay.
I'm confused. Which contract are we talking about here? Are we talking about simply the permit application?
Well,
Or are
both.
we talking
Well,
about?
but we started talking about just approving the email vote that we've all done this week on the amendment with the engineer. But then Matt was just tacking on adjacent conversation to the larger contractor agreement.
But
to the,
we're not talking about approving the larger
No,
contractor
we're not.
agreement
No, we're
tonight,
not. We
right?
haven't even
No,
looked
Okay,
at
no.
it.
yeah, I'm with you then. Yep.
Misty provided the committee with a draft. And we went over that draft of a contract, and there was a lot of comments made and so on. So we passed that to the attorney, and we asked him to draft the contract from that and from comments that committee members had made. And that's an in progress thing that's going on now. And Mike was supposed to do the other thing and add that to it.
So all we're reporting tonight is the vote that we did by email to have the guy doing the permit application.
And the design, he's doing the designs
Right,
and
and the
permit.
design, which took our cost from around 1,500, which we had capped, to 3,000.
For a second
And-
set of
and-
renderings,
For a
Right.
second, yeah.
So that's all we're talking about here.
Yeah,
right?
and that's
Okay.
perfectly,
And that's
you
fine.
know,
Yep.
knowing what engineering costs, that's
Yep.
more than reasonable, really.
It is.
Okay.
Yep.
Do we motion to get this ratified?
We
Motion-
already voted on it, right?
Yep.
So all we have to do is just
Include it in our minutes.
say that
Yeah.
we voted on it. Yeah,
So, we'll go ahead and include this in our minutes that the email vote was, unanimous to, move forward with the amendment to include the second set of renderings from the engineering firm. Okay, next item on new business. Let's talk about the summer bash, fun stuff. So Jeff, you put Charlotte's name down. Charlotte's pointing her finger at you.
Ratify
Okay,
the-
great.
ratify the board composition.
The summer bash is
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
up. It is going
Yep.
to be
The first item
July
on the agenda.
25th.
Oh, I know.
It's gonna be the
Yeah.
one great big sort of back to school, and end of summer type thing to get the kids excited. One last hurrah before school starts back. We've got, it's gonna be here at the 19th hole right outside, like it was year number 1. We've got the same band from year number 1, lots of fun stuff for the kids to do, petting zoo, lots of inflatables, some other fun things. Food will be provided. We're doing hamburgers and hot dogs this year with free ice cream. So details will be coming about that shortly. We've got the flyer, so stay tuned for the newsletter, which this will be posted in with a little bit more detail about times and all the great fun stuff we got coming up for it.
Great.
Ice cream, we all.
what
scream
is a
for ice cream.
mechanical shark? Is this the coastal version of the mechanical bull?
Yes, it's lower and for all ages.
Okay,
There is going to be
Yeah.
a competition between the board members who can ride the
Yes.
shark the longest.
there it is. Yeah,
Matt's first.
that's not shark, that's bull.
Okay, our last item of new business is to ratify the board composition vote. So last Friday, the board of directors had a special meeting convened at 5:15 p.m. We did have a quorum. The board discussed the vacancy created by the resignation of Victor Lejeune, the member at large on our board. The board members considered the possibility of appointing one of the candidates who participated in the March 26 Board of Directors election. The board also discussed the option of conducting a special election to fill the vacant position. Each board member was provided with the opportunity to present their views before a motion was introduced. Motion was made and seconded that the board leave the member at large position vacant and place the seat on ballot for the next election by the membership in our next annual election. That motion was carried by a vote of 5-1. So 5 directors voted in favor of leaving the seat vacant. 1 director voted against the motion. So the member at large position will remain vacant. We will be a board of 6 for the remainder of this year's term. And when we have our election next year, there will be an additional seat for election. That concludes new business. Do any board members have comments?
I have a comment. We had a lake committee meeting yesterday, and Tom had arranged for the fisheries people out at the university that you talked to talk to us, and that was a very beneficial meeting. They've agreed to provide us with some intros to some people, and I think that'll bear some fruit. I don't, want to say any more than they were in agreement with us. I think they didn't know how much had been done already, but yeah, but they're catching up, and they pointed out, that the project on Langham Park, which is the NEP is headed the grant application for to Go Mesa, that's a perfect overlay for our lake. Turns out that John, how do you pronounce his last name?
Lerder.
What?
Lerder.
Lerder. John Lerder is apparently on one of these committees that so he can help us, and we look forward to that association.
Great. That's good to hear.
I would like to say something about the poll. We have what? How many?
The 250.
250.
30.
2,900 homes. More than that emails, since people can have more than one. And
11,000 adults.
we have a response of only 200. Now, you wanted to be really optimistic, you could say, well, that's because people really think we're doing a great job. We'd all like to believe that, but this is really the opportunity for people to have a voice. And if you're sitting in here, you probably filled out the poll. Knock your neighbors' doors, talk to friends in supermarkets or church or wherever it is, and help us. This can be a great guidepost for us. But we have to hear from people. To say that I think if any of us said to you, okay, we surveyed 10% of the homeowners, and we're going to use that 10% to determine whether we raise your dues next year, you're going to go, wait a minute, 10%, what are you doing that for? But, you would allow us to sit here and expect us to be able to map a great course for this association with a 10% response, and that we just need help. Again, talk to people, please. We only have another week, so it's if you took some time and you voted for the baseball all-star ballot, which you can do 5 times a day, take some time and fill out the poll, please.
And there are
Ask
paper
other people to
copies.
help.
There are paper copies at the office if you prefer paper, or the neighbor whose door you knock on prefers paper. Sure.
Respectfully, with the board's indulgence,
Sure.
before y'all adjourn.
Sure. I
Okay.
mean, we're ahead of time for once,
All
so.
right, thank you so much. I know it's not normal, but the 2 new business items, the ramification for the board comp and the ratification for the amended engineering, someone should probably just make a motion to ratify that in a second, and then y'all could vote. And then that ties it all up in a nice vote.
According to
Adjourn.
Patrick, what we have to do is simply announce that we voted.
Then
It's
lastly-
Appreciate the
under
help,
the
but that's-
bylaws,
that's what it
under a
says.
decision without a meeting.
Okay.
Read that.
Lastly, the Piers project. It's my understanding from the previous meetings I've attended that there's a recommendation that we're not doing finger piers. And so with the boards, I know everyone's working really hard on this, and with the savings that you maybe find there, if you could either possibly find a way to structurally complete them so that they can take flow through treads. If you don't see through to doing it now. So, and as a former, as an infrastructure grant writer, working on behalf of FEMA, this is a mitigation that's approved all across the country, all different water projects. So I would strongly encourage the board to consider it strongly. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all of our business for today. Is there a motion to
I'll
adjourn?
make a motion, we adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
Did you say dessert?
That's what I thought.
Discern. I got a